If someone asks us for any financial help, first thing we look into before we lend money to anyone is his or her capability to repay the money back. Same way, as a lender or investor in corporate ecosystem, we make sure the target company is capable to pay its interest on outstanding debt or not. It's very important to figure out company's efficiencies to payment of its interest expenses from its operating profit. So we analyze and perform these tasks through the interest coverage ratio. These metrics help you to understand company's earning strength to manage and disbursement of its debt expenses, which is interest expenses. As an investor and lender, you have to understand the money you are putting into company is in safe hand, because the major cause of bankruptcy in corporate ecosystem is company's incapability to repayment of its debt or default on interest payment. So today we will learn about the interest coverage ratio. Through that, you will be able to understand how much companies generate cash flow in proportion to its interest payment. So let's move ahead and start our lesson. Alright, let's understand first thing first. Let's understand what is the definition of the interest coverage ratio. As name itself says suggested that interest coverage ratio, what is the coverage ratio that companies, how much companies generate a cash flow in order to cover its interest. Okay, when we will calculate this, then things will be more clear to you. For now, let's focus on the definition. The interest coverage ratio, which we sometimes called ICR, is a financial ratio that is used to determine how well a company can pay the interest on its outstanding debt. The ICR is commonly used for the lender, creditor, and investor to determine the riskiness of the lending capital to the company. The interest coverage ratio is also called the times interest earned ratio. So by definition, interest coverage ratio is company's capability to pay its interest expenses. Now let's move ahead and let's look into the formula to calculate the interest coverage ratio. Alright, so here is the formula to calculate the interest coverage ratio. As you can see here, interest coverage ratio is equal to EBIT, earning before interest and tax, divided by the interest expenses. This is the formula to calculate the interest coverage ratio, that how much companies earn in proportion to pay its interest expenses. Okay, at the right side you can say, for example, here is a sample of a P&L segment. Above you can see this is the sales revenue and we minus the COGS, cost of goods sold. This is our gross profit. After gross profit, we minus the total expenses. So from total revenue, after minusing COGS and other expenses, we got the EBIT, earning before interest and tax, as our numerator. So we take this section, EBIT divided by interest expenses. So when we divide the interest expense from its EBIT, we will find the interest coverage ratio. The higher the interest coverage ratio that the companies generate more cash flow, then it's had the obligation to pay its interest. For simple, let's understand this, that how much company generate in order to its obligation to pay its interest payment. So this is it. Now let's move ahead and calculate the interest coverage ratio on the Excel sheet. Alright, now we are on the Excel sheet. Here you can see sample of the profit and loss statement. We have already put all the input. This is our cash flow, net revenue. What is the inflows? This is the positive sign, and what is the outflows of the company that has the negative signs? You can see over here. So let's start it. Let's first calculate the gross profit. We already put the minus sign. What is the outflows of the company? So it's equal to, let's sum the total revenue minus COGS. We get the gross profit. All right. From the gross profit, we have to minus the expenses. So we already minus all the expenses. You can see the detail here, that salaries, rent, utility, depreciation. We have to minus all these expenses from the gross profit. Okay, so let's minus this. So this is our operating profit. Sorry, we have written the EBIT here. So this is our operating profit, EBIT, earning before interest and tax. Now let's calculate the EBIT. It's equal to sum EBIT minus interest. So this is our earning before tax and this is our tax. So now let's come to calculate the net income. Don't worry, we will make a separate video. We will learn about how to read the profit and loss statement. For now, for the purpose understand the interest coverage ratio, we are just calculating this thing. This is not the detailed video about the calculating profit and loss statement. This is just for the reference. So now let's come and calculate net income. Net income is equal to sum earning before tax minus taxes. All right. So this is our net income. So let's calculate the interest coverage ratio. Is equal to, what is our formula? Denominator is interest expenses. Interest expenses. This is interest expenses divided by numerator earning before tax. This is earning before tax. This is minus sign here because we put the minus sign on the interest expenses. Let's change the sign. Put the minus sign here. So this is our interest coverage ratio. The higher the interest coverage ratio, that means the company is more capable to pay its debt. The higher is better. Average interest coverage ratio is lying 1.5 to 2.5. Okay, anything greater than 2.5 is considered as a better coverage ratio, and less than 1.5 is considered as a alarming interest coverage ratio. This is the way how we calculate the interest coverage ratio. You can find the interest coverage ratio on the financial website like screener.com. Let's go and check. Here we are on the Screener website. Let's find the interest coverage ratio of the HCL Technology. All right. So as you can see here, this is as you can write down here, search interest coverage ratio, add. This is the interest coverage ratio, 35.4. So it's a way greater than the average interest coverage ratio. You can find the industry wise what the industry standard average coverage ratio, what is the peer interest coverage. So you can make your judgment as your own to find out that what is the standard average ratio for the industry. See, this is the how we calculate the interest coverage ratio. Hope you understand the concept. If you find any difficulties to understand, please write down the comment. See you in the next video. Thank you.